Silverstone 2 weeks ago was a dramatic and classic race. Now we head back over to our second of 4 visits to Spain. Welcome to Aragon. Back on the calendar once more, and we love this venue. Been racing here for over a decade, and it is still so much fun. Welcome to the opening practice session on a very hot morning of racing. Green light, and away we go then for the opening 45 minutes of practice for the Aragon Grand Prix. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to JB Motorsports' coverage of this amazing event. It is round 8 of the 2025 calendar, and we come here with a confusion in the championship as well. After an unpredictable race, Marquez still leads the championship, but this time just by 24 points to Alex Marquez. Both of them having a crash at the British Grand Prix. Pekco finishing in 3rd, Franco Morbidelli going in 4th, Zarco 5th, Antonio in 6th in the standings. Fabio Quartararo in 8th. He could have won the British Grand Prix not for a ride height failure. When are they going to ban those devices? But our eventual winner now moves up the championship. Marco Bezzecchi, what a race for him. He's now on 69 points for Aprilia Racing. And it's Aprilia that have dominated the headlines, with Jorge Martin announcing, with the rumours going before the British Grand Prix, that he was exercising his right to leave at the end of the season. Aprilia have now put out a statement saying that they will honour that contract until the end of the 2026 season. Jorge Martin has then put out a statement saying that he is relieving himself from the 2026 contract with Aprilia. So it's all up in the air exactly who goes where. Aprilia arguing that the contract is valid and it shouldn't really apply, considering that Jorge Martin has not been on the bike for a successful number of races. In fact, he's only done half a Grand Prix this year. The only race he's actually finished is the Tissot Sprint from Qatar before his secondary injury. Jorge Martin saying that even with that development, that is not really a factor and I should be able to leave. He may stay with Aprilia, that's an option on the table, but he's not going to go back to KTM, he's not going to go back to Ducati, and he certainly won't go to Aprilia. So the only two left, Honda and Yamaha. Now, what team showed support to Jorge Martin after his initial injury in pre-season testing and his subsequent one at the Qatar Grand Prix going to Spain? Oh yeah, Prima Pramac, who last year were running the Ducatis, this year running a Yamaha, a factory Yamaha bike. I put it to you, good people viewing this, that I reckon Jorge Martin will go for one more year on the Prima Pramac with the factory Yamaha bike before moving up to the main factory team of Yamaha alongside Fabio Quartararo and replacing Alex Rins. Now, all that means is, who leaves the Prima Pramac team? Will it be Jack Miller, who has been performing really, really strongly, or Miguel Oliveira, who's had injury after injury? Well, Jack Miller has just a 1-year contract, and it could be an option that he also leaves the team. So, it's all up in the air. Silly season has very, very much begun, and nobody knows what is going to happen next. Let's check in quickly then with TNT Sports.
Is right through the ranks, the way he got there, the way he delivered those Moto2 titles, coming into Tech 3 as a rookie in MotoGP, gelling so well with the French team, delivering those results for Yamaha, then heading off to the factory contract, finally getting paid at KTM, walked away from it, got rescued by LCR initially, then ended up at home with under Gino Borsoi, this man in shot, led him to finally win a MotoGP race in Pramac colours, then moved back to LCR, and you think, this is the last sort of roll of the dice for Johan. He's going to go there, develop a bike. We're not going to see him win races again. And all of a sudden, career resurgence or what? He's found a niche there. He's found a bike team, a factory that listens to his feedback. He's in the sweet spot right now. It's so good to witness.
It's brilliant to witness. This is good to witness as well. Miguel Oliveira back on track, having been injured again. He's been dogged by injury now for the past few years.
Through no fault of his own.
Yeah.
That's the underlining bit. Like, riders have injuries, but to have so many injuries through no fault of your own, there's not been a rider in their history that's had that much bad luck.
It's incredible, and we know the talent that he has that's bubbling underneath, and we never seem to quite get to see it again, do we? Because there'll be another injury, so hopefully he can get a free run now.
Yeah, because he needs to sort of start building some momentum, but this is like his second race. It's his second opportunity of like, now it's almost like his season's just started at round 8. That's so difficult because I'm sure we're going to talk about it, what is bubbling around Yamaha with Top Rank potentially coming into this championship next year, taking a Pramac ride, it looks like. We know that Jack Miller's on a 1-year contract, but then there's also rumours that Miguel Oliveira's got a clause in his contract, a performance-related clause, that which he won't have met due to injury, I will underline. So, yeah, all of a sudden for Miguel Oliveira, there's a lot of pressure on him.
Sounds familiar, that story, in another team as well, doesn't it, really, with the performance clause and different grey areas. But it's an interesting situation at Yamaha. I think we can talk about Top Rank. I mean, obviously, before we get stuck into the Aprilia story, let's just, talk about this situation here, because there will be people on the outside thinking, well, thought Top Rank only wanted full factory, but actually, Pramac Yamaha, it really essentially is full factory now.
Yeah. Latest bikes, it's the current team that won the World Championship last year with Jorge Martin. So you know the calibre of the Pramac racing squad in general, and they've got the latest bikes. We know where Yamaha have made huge steps this year, and also you'll know lots going on behind the scenes, developing a V4, and there's lots going on at Yamaha. Put it this way, Yamaha are not getting beaten like lying down. They've come back fighting, so yeah, it's a really good opportunity for Top Rank. It's as good as a factory bike as you're ever going to get, really. So, I mean, the argument is, should he have waited? Should Top Rank? By man, it's not a done deal, but all the people that normally get it right when let's say, when these stories break, are saying that Top Rank is signed for Pramac. So it looks like Top Rank's coming in next year. So
if that is the case, what happened with the Honda scenario that we were talking about a few rounds ago, Michael?
It's a difficult one to know the ins and outs of it all, but obviously Top Rank is an exciting individual, has a history with Yamaha in World Superbike, and as does his management. Keenan Software, even though he spent most of his career in Kawasaki, seemed to have a real affinity with Yamaha. And obviously, if Top Rank isn't part of that Honda equation now, who is in the lead running to step up? Is it Zarco to the factory team? Would he be better placed? I know Lucio Cecchinello really wants to keep him in LCR and give him a factory contract, keep him developing the bike. There are Moto2 contenders possibly been tipped for Honda. It's an interesting one to see what direction they go in, whether it is a Jorge Martin. Obviously, we know what's happened at Aprilia. Is he the lead candidate? You've got to say he most likely is for the factory Honda spot. So, yeah, there's a lot going on behind the doors at the moment at both HRC and Yamaha, no doubt.
We were just looking.
Yeah, well, that's the case. That is actually the big problem at the moment, is exactly knowing who's going where, because one, Top Rank says he might go back with Honda, but does that mean he goes back to Honda for a year in the World Superbikes, then moves over to their factory team in MotoGP? Is he happy? He's not really happy with BMW, is he, in the World Superbikes? Constantly getting here, there, and everywhere treatment. So there's that to contend with as well. It's not a mess. It's just unnecessary clutter, I would say. So there's a lot to go on. There's a lot that still is in the air. Where would you like to see Jorge Martin go? Get your answers in the chat. And where would you like to see Top Rank go? So there's two different questions there for you to get into it. Sean says, would really love to see Top Rank in MotoGP. Jorge Martin is about to create a mess in the riders market. When doesn't he? In all honesty, when doesn't Jorge Martin create some form of mess in the championship? It is unbelievable. Just a reminder, I've only got 21 on my timing screen, and then on the other I've got 23, so who's being repeated? I only know there's 21 in this event, but I've got 20. Yeah, Nakagami's not here, and neither's Ayagura. Ayagura's been ruled out of this event, by the way, for injury. And Nakagami is the wild card, so don't know why they're appearing on that timing screen, but not your timing screen. So my timing screen's wrong, but yours is correct. I'll have to look at this one here, which shows Marc Marquez fastest on a 147.665. Alex Marquez second, 148.457. Then it's Marco Bezzecchi, Pedro Costa, Juan Mir, Johan Zarco, Fabio Di Antonio, Jack Miller, Brad Binder, Fermin Ardagir in the top 10. Miguel Oliveira, Anea Bashini, Alex Reynolds, Fabio Quartararo, Pecco Bagnaia, Augusto Fernandez, Franco Morbidelli, Raul Fernandez, Maverick Vinales, Somkat Chantra, and Lorenzo Salvadori. This is Marc Marquez coming into turn 12 past the wall and running wide off the circuit as well. And he's the man, isn't he, to blame? He is the man to blame for all of this rider market mess, because when Marc left Honda to join Ducati, he created this mess because now you can get out of contracts. You can buy yourself out of the contracts. Michael asks, isn't there a Yamaha wild card? I'm seeing 2 Monster Energy Yamahas and no third, so no wild card. I've only got 21 riders on this event. Problem is, we don't get our official documents for MotoGP until after this first session as to who's going where over the weekend. And actually, the MotoGP website has here we go. I thought it crashed for a second, but now it's back up and running. Right, let me take a look to see if it's actually working. Aha, lovely. We've got the entry bibliography now as well. Wild card for Yamaha is Augusto Fernandez for Yamaha. So there you are. Where's he? Yep, there he is. Yamaha Factory Racing down in 16th position. So there you are. Yeah. Chantra, I go rookies. Yeah, that's good. So there was supposed to be 23, but there's actually only one. Lorenzo Salvadori on the R1. Where's on the Aprilia? Yeah, he's down 21st position as well. But yeah, there we go. So the wild card for this event is Augusto Fernandez. There you are. Other riders have done it before, Mark. Zarco did it with KTM. That's true, yeah. When Zarco left KTM, he gave it all up. As Neil was actually saying just a moment ago on the broadcast, gave up the factory KTM he'd waited so long for, went over to Honda, and everyone thought, oh, well, that's a stupid manoeuvre. And he's gone and won a race. And Honda are coming back. Yamaha are coming back. And Ducati's engine sort of freeze that they've put on themselves as well, actually, by sticking with last year's engine, has really put it good. I think he's on the V4 Yamaha. I think so too, actually. We have got the Aragon test on Monday, and we are showing the Aragon test, by the way. We are showing it live on JBMotorsports 2. So on this very channel that you're watching the live coverage of this race, we will be broadcasting the Aragon test on Monday in full. So yeah, we know we're not trackside this weekend, so we know it's coming, and we've got all the data for it. So from 9 AM British Summer Time to 5 PM British Summer Time, that's 10 till 6 over there, 8 hours of uninterrupted Aragon test with all the timing data you need, and we'll be playing back our commentaries from this weekend. So if you're listening to us back there, hello everybody. Hopefully you're enjoying it as well. And it was a good weekend. And if you're listening back on Monday during our broadcast, hopefully you enjoyed a great weekend of action and you're enjoying this commentary again. Fabio Quartararo then, still circulating. He's now got into 10th position. Got it. I know why my timing screen's showing 23, because I'm on the timing page for the live standings. So it's Marc Marquez, Alex Marquez. There we go. They're all in now. 21 riders just this weekend, one of the shortest we have on the calendar. Usually we have 23, but just 21 now. Fabio Quartararo, I believe, was moonlighting last weekend at the Spanish Grand Prix. I think he was in McLaren's garage, I want to say. Looked a bit happy, of course. What time Monday? 9 till 5 British Summer Time, 10 till 6 Central European Time. That's for the Monday test. The stream will be going up later on today, Michael, so check it on JBMotorsports 2 and set your reminder. That's where the testing coverage will be. And we'll be broadcasting the whole day. So all the timing screens just like this. And we'll bring you some updates throughout the day as well, with myself popping in live commentary bits, so that we are all good. So join us for that, it's going to be fun. Marc Marquez at 147.665. Alex Marquez second, all looking good. Just a reminder, this weekend, I believe it is GB3 also on JB Motorsports 2 and on JB Motorsports. Obviously, by the way, the Grand Prix will be on JB Motorsports, the main channel. So all the practice sessions are here. The races are over on JB Motorsports. Or bar, I think, Moto 2, which is back on the channel because we have to, again, leave it to the commentary. And we've got the British Touring Car Championship this weekend. It's all going to be fun. NASCAR as well. Michigan, the Trucks and Cup Series. So Mark Marquez, still fastest, 47.665. Alex is P2. As things are currently going. Also, Kobayashi back in the F1 car to test with Haas Pro car yesterday. I thought it was a week ago, but yeah, it was nice to see him back in the car. Kobayashi, wonderful bloke. Joker as well when I spoke to him. Jack is doing Suzuka 6 Hour. Will you be doing that? No. I don't know. When is the Suzuka 6 Hour? I don't know. It's difficult for us to get coverage in the UK. Sky Wi-Fi. Oh, they've got their own mic covers now for advertisement when the teams are talking to each other. That's quite clever. We don't usually do the endurance bike racing. We've got the World Endurance Championship for all the four wheels, but the Motorcycle World Endurance Championship. It's hard enough to get the team together for this. Oh, and Alex is not happy with sitting on the bike coming down into turn 11. What's going on here? He's just sitting on the front of the ride height, not happy there. Which riders do you think could be on the move to another team at the end of the season? Well, definitely Martin. I think Martin's going back to Prima Pramac. I then also think Jack Miller's not going to be there as a result of that. I don't think Vinales is happy at KTM. I think he could be moving. If I was Vinales, I'd take back the Aprilia seat. I'd go back to Aprilia, personally. So I think Vinales might go back to Aprilia. Luca Marini's under suspicion, isn't he? About where he's off to. Who is also not racing this weekend. I don't know. It's hard to see. I think Oliveira stay with Prima Pramac and partner Martin. That's a good lineup. Yeah, Morbidelli's contract with VR46 also at the end of the season. I think Morbidelli, there isn't really much room for him to move. I'd say Morbidelli stays where it stays put, to be fair. Okay, let's head back over to TNT.
Okay, I know we had that in the contract and we had a date where we to make a decision, but this is unforeseen circumstances. No one expected, but at this point in the season, for Jorge not to have seen a checkered flag. So because of that fact, the reason that clause was put in the contract was a safety net for Jorge Martin, but he can't evaluate the bike because he's not even finished the race, so he's asking for more time. Allegedly, we don't know the absolute fine details, and no one does, and that's what's interesting when you hear some journalists go extreme one way or the other. You think, come on, you've not read the contract. The compromise, for me, sitting here in the commentary box with all the information that I've heard, is if Aprilia could extend that time to, let's we still haven't got a date when he's coming back to race.
No, because the latest was that he was evaluated and they would have another look in a month's time.
Oh, right. Wow. The problem is you're going to run out of time anyway, aren't you? As in, so let's say if evaluating in a month's time.
That's just then, before the summer break,
yeah,
actually,
I was going to say, and then he's going to need a minimum of 3 races on the bike to have a rough idea where he's at. The problem is by the time you get to there, if he then says, I want to leave, well,
you say yes or no.
Every door will be closed. Oh, it's messy. It gets messier for everyone concerned, doesn't it?
Oh, it is a real mess. What do you think, Michael? Do you think we'll see him back out on the Aprilia this year?
Yeah, I think so. As a racer, he'd want to be out there and keeping himself sharp, proving that he's capable of winning races in MotoGP. And obviously, when you sat at home and watched the Silverstone race and seen how good the bike was in Marco Bezzecchi's hands, you think, actually, I do want a piece of that. I want to see how competitive I could be on it. And actually, the relationship could be repaired. It could be a possible that he gets on it. He is fast. It all works. And somehow they managed to execute a deal for next season. I think that's a tough ask at this stage, but you never know.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you not think it's too late? Because there's history that if you cross Jorge, as Ducati did, I think that's fair to say, because he wanted that factory ride, he was promised it never happened. He doesn't like that. He takes another move, like he did. He moved to Aprilia. Is it too late to pick up the pieces?
I don't think it's too late, but the time's running out so fast. Like if there are discussions this weekend, just talk us through this, Michael, because
is this a new ride height?
well, we saw these. We saw that aero at Silverstone, but I don't know anything about it. Do you know anything?
No, and it looks like they've added a little another tier to the actual aero effect.
Hang on, did you say you didn't know? What, Michael? Have I taught you nothing?
Just lie.
Obviously.
To be fair, where it's positioned, you think the rider's going to block a lot of any airflow to it on the back of the seat. But obviously there must be, whenever you look at the fluid dynamics of how the air flows around the bike, where it gets to, even how it comes through the fairing, how it's exhausted from the back of the radiator, there will be some effect on the seat unit. And if they can provide a little bit of push into the rear tyre, helps with traction. They do say a lot on corner entry with these seat add-ons. It does help rear contact, and it helps stabilise the bike in the fast corners. But we typically see them on the top of the seat rather than down to the side where Aprilia have added them, but they seem to work to great effect at Silverstone at least.
I said to you
that's what you wanted, wasn't it?
Yeah, I said to you it was something to do with the fluid dynamics.
Exactly what you said to me.
In the high column yesterday, remember?
Yeah, I do. Are you doing a tech piece this week with Aprilia?
Yeah, we're down with Aprilia this afternoon.
So could you have a little look?
We will do. That's the plan.
Because there has been some talk about a new rear ride height device for Aprilia, but obviously no information's been given, so if you could have a snoop around that as well.
Yeah, usually they're quite good down there with the Aprilia, with Paolo and the boys. They like to obviously show off their latest technology, and it's such a beautiful little motorcycle when you go and see all the details. So looking forward to getting my teeth into that this afternoon.
So some good interviews, some good tech stuff across the weekend, across our programming, as we look at something.
You're doing that, and I'm off to the pub.
Well, we're happy that you are. That's fine with us. It's not a problem. The Marquez brothers leading the way. No
surprise there.
No surprise there, particularly Mark. And Alex has said, even if you ride at 100%, it's not enough to beat Mark around here. So that's a pretty bold thing to say. Just want to pick up on Joran Mir, who's looking pretty racy this weekend, sitting in the 6th, and sort of the rise and the return of Joran Mir, who's actually pretty good around here.
Yeah, always liked this track. He needs, I mean, he's the second fastest Honda rider, but crashes too much.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I mean, he's crashed a lot in races in the past, let's say in the past 20 races, he's crashed in more than 50% of them. So, but then the argument is, well, you need a rider who's not going to quit. You need a rider who's going to push. A la Marquez-esque, but you've sort of got to finish more. Because it's funny, you need a rider in between Marini and Mir. So Marini's, he has finished every race this year. I know he's injured, so he's racing this weekend, but because he crashed at the Suzuka test. But so it's like Marini's not pushing hard enough. He's working on developing the bike and getting feedback. And Mia's going, look, I'll do whatever it takes and I'll push this bike to its absolute limit. You need to wear him in the middle, and you've got it in a way, haven't you? Because that's Zarco.
But prior to Honda, Mir wasn't a crasher. It's not.
No. His last year on Suzuki went a bit wrong, weirdly, and he crashed quite a bit. Up to that point, he's never been a crasher in his career, through Moto3 when he won the World Championship, Moto2.
Even
and then he got on the Suzuki, won the MotoGP World Championship, COVID year. And then, the last year on Suzuki wasn't great, but funny one, isn't it? I think the dream team, I was thinking about it yesterday when we were on that lovely Ryanair flight, Susie.
Oh, it was great, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Anyway, the least said about that.
There were no chimps coming out.
No, not at all. It was a lovely flight. I was thinking, the dream team for the Honda dream team is factory team is now Jorge Martin, because he's on the market, and Zarco. Put Zarco in that team. I've decided, and everyone's going, oh no, he wants to. He likes the satellite feel. No, stick him in that factory team for me. And then in LCR. Keep Marini, because he's part of the development of helping improve this bike, and Mir. So the two factory riders, they've been demoted down to the LCR, and you've got Jorge Martin coming in, and you've got Zarco, who's been rewarded for 2 fantastic years.
That's your dream team.
Yeah, that's been.
What about Pedro Acosta?
Yeah, I know Pedro Acosta. Obviously, I'd pick Pedro over Marini or Mia. And then, yeah, but he's got a contract, Susie.
I know. The point is, I suppose, really, a lot of this, it depends very much on what happens with Jorge Martin,
Yeah,
because it will cause a massive domino effect.
And KTM with, obviously, Acosta.
Yeah.
You know, if Acosta's management want to buy him out of his KTM contract, if KTM continue next year, which I'm 90% sure
Yeah,
they
they
are.
will. They've said they will continue.
Yeah.
They've got a contract with Tech 3 as well to the end of next season. But there is obviously Honda have deeper pockets than KTM right now. KTM in financial crisis have received funding from Bajaj, more to prop up the company prospects rather than the race team side. But obviously, if there was a bid for Pedro Acosta's services from HRC to buy him out, you got to listen to that. It would be a few million on offer, you would imagine.
Staying with the scenario of Tech 3, with KTM, Tech 3 rumours about Gunther Steiner being involved.
That could be interesting, yeah.
What do you make of those rumours?
Well, essentially, if you look at all the independent teams now, people are looking at MotoGP with Liberty Media taking over, and there's more interest of people wanting to get involved in MotoGP. So the independent teams, almost their stock value's gone up. The value of owning a team, of owning grid slots, has gone up. There's more interest. So someone like Hervé, it sounds like he's got a few options, hasn't he? I mean, Hervé strikes me as a man, as we know Hervé really well. You feel like he wants to do a half a step back, but he doesn't want to let go, and you can't blame him, because this has been his life. Obviously, his daughter and is involved in the team. So you can imagine Hervé doesn't want to sell out completely, but for someone to let's say, invest in Tech 3 would be probably an exciting prospect for him, because it'd be a financial gain, and then share the workload.
And we saw him obviously step back from IRTA last time out, with Lucio Cecchinato taking his place after 20 years of being president of IRTA. But so do you see the scenario the same way? Obviously Gunther Steiner's been to loads of MotoGP races. We always wondered what he was doing here, but maybe this is why.
I wasn't sure if he was just purely a fan, but he's obviously a speculator as well, wanting to get involved financially to invest in the championship with the team. And we've heard rumours of Lewis Hamilton also expressing an interest. The Liberty Media takeover, when it finally concludes, it will bring interest from other parties.
It's going to boom
the way
they back into
built Formula One. Everyone hopes they'll do similar for MotoGP. So Gunther would be a big character for our sport. For Hervé, KTM have already told him they will support him beyond his current contract, but it'll be financially reduced. So he has to protect his bottom line. He's got to make sure, as he said, he keeps it in the green. So he's got to look at other avenues of income, whether that's investment, sponsors. He's got a few proposals on the table, and he's a shrewd operator at Hervé. He will do the best thing for his team, for himself. And as you mentioned, stepping back from the president of IRTA means he wants to take a step back in life, do a bit of reading, enjoy the pleasant things in life. He doesn't want to travel to 22 GPs, and he wants to maybe take a few flyaways off, and someone like Gunther maybe helping take the reins of the team could allow Hervé that luxury.
Can you imagine the characters?
Imagine.
Them two together. I mean, that is massive, isn't it?
Well, that's part of Liberty taking over, Liberty Media taking over. They will exploit those characters. Shall we just flip back to the lap time? So
yeah, because Conor Ryan's just gone wide down at the braking zone as well, and he was like, "Oh, I can't believe I've done that." Every single person I've ever spoken to in both the World Superbike and the MotoGP paddock have all said the same thing. They cannot wait for Liberty Media to come into MotoGP, because MotoGP needs to be dragged, kicking and screaming, into the 21st century, because they're stuck. They are so stuck. The social media output is poor. You're not allowed to do things, you're not allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do that. Whereas with Formula One, they've welcomed the fan in Bray. They've embraced the fans with open arms. I have to rephrase that. But with MotoGP, they shoot you. Every opportunity they can, they will shoot you. They may as well have a firing squad inside the paddock for fans who want to get involved with MotoGP, and like we do right here. They hate it. And Liberty Media love it because it's exposure, and that's what it needs to be. Dorna have forgotten that MotoGP is a sport owned by fans. They think that they've got complete control and they own it completely, blah, 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 blah. They're forgetting that it's a sport. And its sport is owned by the fans. And Liberty Media remember that, and they've opened up they've opened up Formula One so much now. Honestly, the changes is unbelievable. And now we're really hoping that when Dorna are sold to Liberty Media, yes, Dorna will still be in control, but Liberty Media are going to be revolutionising this sport. Right, what have we got here? Well, for Jorge Martin last season, you know you are not going to get the factory Ducati ride when Mark is also in the conversation as he was riding out in the GP23. Maybe not entirely like he's not going to get that spot, but if Mark is in the mix, it lowers Jorge's chances. And now Mark is making Pekco look like wingman of the Nova Ducati factory team. So just what's your opinions on the take above? I agree. I think, if anything, I could see Bagnaia leaving. And if Martin then wants to go to the factory ride, he's got the seat there. But, I don't know, once bitten, twice shy from both Ducati and Martin's point of view. Ducati blindsided Martin by saying, we're actually going with Marc Marquez. And Martin blindsided Ducati by saying, OK, well, now off to Aprilia after the Mugello test. This time last year. So, yeah, it was weird. Let's have a look. From Rainy Jakarta, say hello. Well, actually, Formula E will be in Jakarta in 2 weeks' time. So that's going to be fun. Hello. And yeah, I'm commentating that one from my hotel room. I don't know if I get to do qualifying, but I know I definitely get to do the race, fingers crossed. I'm there for that one. If not, then we need to find a new commentary because we're at Alton Park that weekend for the British Touring Car Championship trackside in 2 weeks. So yeah, we're going trackside in 2 weeks. Will Martin race the next race? Says Garage 43. Up and up at the moment. He was at the Aprilia Legends Day, so he was there, and he's cycling at the moment. But if I was Jorge Martin, I'd just take a couple more out. I don't see Martin coming back until after the summer break. That's my opinion. After the Saxon ring. Because you're not going to come back to the Saxon ring and have a big injury there, are you? I reckon Red Bull ring would be the first time we see him back. Maybe Brno at the Czech Republic, that could be an option. I can't remember what the calendar looks like at the moment. They change it so much, I can't remember what the calendar is. Where are we? So we've got Italy next. He won't come back to Mugello. Netherlands, that's an option. Won't come back to Germany. Czech Republic could be it, but it's actually the Grand Prix of Tunisia. Austria, I reckon Austria. Austria is the likely one for me. And then Hungary is a wild card, isn't it? As they come into it. Catalonia, San Marino, Japan, Indonesia, Australia, Malaysia, Portugal, and Portugal and Mexico something like this. That's so confusing still. Yes, broadcast. Hello. Yes, we come into it. MotoGP needs to be free broadcast. I agree. It needs to be free to air, and that's the one thing that it's not all the way throughout. 10 minutes to go then. Alex Marquez is on the lap time. Let's send it back to TNT.
Right, and that's fueled the rumour that Pekco could end up at Yamaha,
Yeah,
Michael.
Exactly as I was saying.
I just don't see it. I don't see Pekco Bagnaia leaving Ducati, going to Yamaha, but stranger things have happened. He's not happy currently with the GP25. Gigi Linea's told all hands on deck they need to do better for Pekco. They need to find an answer for him. It seemed like he was their chosen son 2 years ago, and everything that Pekco needed was delivered for him. But right now, it's difficult for the factory to give him what he's after. And yeah, they're trying. But the problem is the Marc Marquez effect, and Neil's said about it, the other side of the garage, you look across, you're Pekco Bagnaia right now, some of the exact same tools as used that 1.5 seconds a lap faster. And wow, where is that time out there? And I'm a double MotoGP World Champion if I'm Pekco Bagnaia looking at the timesheets and questioning myself. It's tough times.
So if you're Pekco Bagnaia, what are you going to do?
Oof, yeah, try and get rid of Marquez somehow, but that's not going to happen in a hurry.
Anywhere,
He's not going anywhere. But yeah, his world's changed when Marquez signed that factory contract.
It's a no-brainer what you
Which
do.
was a year ago here.
I'll answer your question. You get on a Yamaha.
Yeah.
No point in continuing. What are you going to do? Obviously, he's going to ride with Mark next year, and it's going to be more of the same on the 2026 bike, which won't work for Pekco, work for Mark. So he's going to have a miserable season. So what's he going to do? He's going to speak to his management and say, get me the best factory opportunity. I want to enjoy my racing again. And just maybe, like last year, I'll be on a better bike than Mark, so Yamaha might make a step. But this will be for 27, and just maybe I can beat him. But if I'm riding the same bike as him, I'm not going to be able to beat him. So that's the reality of it. That's
Yeah, I suppose I'm thinking too much with Italian, thinking they're partisan, they want to keep the rider, but you think of Pecco's management, the VR46 team, they've got a relationship with Yamaha. They know that what Yamaha can do for the Italian rider to give him the feeling, and arguably Pecco's super smooth riding style, the way he can use the front tyre, could work with Yamaha, so maybe he is looking, not everything's as rosy as you would think inside the Ducati garage. Perhaps he is looking at pasture view.
And it's fair to say that there is going to be a lot of gambling going on during the negotiations, isn't it?
Do you know what? That is the line, Susie. There's going to be a lot of gambling because there's a lot of unknown. We have got the biggest unknown coming, not next year, but the year after that. Someone can throw a dart and it goes straight into the bullseye, and that could be Honda, that could be Yamaha. They've got the finances, the resources, the experience. They could do. Ducati could continue to dominate and they hit a bullseye. Aprilia might just hit the sweet spot. KTM, you know, like almost like the forgotten about manufacturer, could hit the sweet spot. So you just don't know. But there's one thing you do know, Susie. If you line up on the grid on the same bike as Marc Marquez,
Oh, lost signal. There we go.
because tests have shown he's beating every one of his teammates and he's destroying his two-time MotoGP teammate right now.
You know, if you're Marc Marquez, I'm sorry I'm asking you to be everybody today. I quite like this role play scenario.
Hang on, this is one of my dreams. You asked me to be Jorge Martin, I was enjoying that. Can I be Mark now?
You can be Marc. Right, so you left Honda because times were bad times. Sachsenring, going back a couple of years ago, disaster, 5 crashes, tears, awful. You leave, you get an opportunity to go to Gresini Ducati. You love riding again, you get your enjoyment back, you get a chance, you've got a plan, you execute it perfectly, you don't care about the collateral damage, it's nothing to do with you. You get on the factory bike, it's 2025, you win the World Championship this year, 2026, you win the World Championship. But have you got another plan? Have you got another plan at the moment? Would you like to go back to Honda and win it again for Honda? Because you didn't burn the bridge. What do you want to do?
I'd say, and it's a question I've thought about. I've never answered this before, but I have thought about it. I think you can only answer that question when we're halfway through next year.
That's too late though, because contracts will be done by then.
Not if you're Marc Marquez, he controls the contracts. So, and because he controls it, he can wait till halfway through the year. I think the best way I can answer this is Mark's addicted to winning. So he will, if he thinks Ducati's the way to go, he will stay in Ducati. It's nice to think, the romance of, I tell you what would be lovely, it'd be nice to complete the circle, go back to Honda, give him the first chance.
It'll also maybe have 10 victories at that point, which beats a certain record that's already there by Valentino, obviously. So does that give the luxury to take a gamble and go back to Honda, or are you like, nope?
No, he's addicted to winning.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. It is.
Good chat though, isn't it? This is the only time we can have these long-winded chats, so forgive us for procrastinating slightly. Let's get back to what's happening on track then. Maverick Vinales is popped up there, looking pretty racy.
Like he's
Style it out for the whole weekend though.
the enigma that is Maverick Vinales. Signed for Tech 3 KTM, Michael, and we all had the same chats. Well, on camera, off camera, going, oh, I just can't see that working out. I think the KTM's tricky. I don't know. You know, Maverick, and he's been in all these factory teams. I feel like it's the beginning of the end, and it's not. It's done the opposite, hasn't it?
Completely rejuvenated. He looks good on the bike. There's shots there on his attacking lap. So strong on the brakes, making the thing turn, getting off the corner really well. Oh, little twitch there from Pekco into the final corner. We've seen a few moments into there this weekend already. Definitely looks like the entry is a little bumpier than it's been previous. But yeah, I love watching Maverick at the moment, and I hope he can convert it to a victory. It'd be so nice to see Tech 3 get a win in Maverick and KTM colours as well.
And you wouldn't rule it out, would you, at some point?
No.
This year. I mean, he nearly won in Qatar. So I can't believe that happened.
Yeah, that was...
Like, it was only Mark's just dogged, tenacious, and no way I'm having this. I know, as it turned out, we've got a different tyre pressure issue, but yeah, incredible.
And Alex Rins up in 4th place. Alex had such a nightmare time with that last injury, and you get the feeling that it's only just about now where he's kind of coming back physically 100%.
Yeah, you feel for Rins. You see him walking around the paddock, and he's clearly not the rider he was before he crashed up the Jello a couple of years ago. And it's just been... It's also hard for him because then he's Quattararo's teammate.
Yeah.
So he's the equivalent of Mark on the Yamaha, isn't he? You know, it's like he's able to do things that no one else can do on this bike. And again, when you speak to Cali, when Cal Crutchlow talks about Quattararo, he says similar things, going, oh yeah, he's incredible. So.
Okay, let's just quickly get back to the chat for a second and get some information. Let's have a look. Wow, Woo said it's difficult to predict the sequence of third onwards. It really is. Vinales now shot up there, wins. I was just saying earlier how bad of a season he's having, and then all of a sudden, whoop, straight up he goes. Imagine Mark did what Rossi did, left his original team to join another ultimate powerhouse manufacturer team, then years later back to the manufacturer where he worked with throughout his career. Mark would never go back to Honda. That was an ugly divorce that spread out over a long time. Mark is rejuvenated with Ducati, and I don't think he'd ever go back to Honda because they didn't listen to him. If that ever happened, I'd be very surprised. Oh, and Pekco nearly dropping in at turn 1 as well on the inside. He's as puzzled as to why that happened as we would be. Brakes, front goes up, rear comes back down, turns in on the left, mid corner, bang! As soon as he pulls the throttle, just twitches. That would have... There's no reason that could be doing it. There's no cold front tyre. Track temperature's at 42 degrees, air temperature 26. The tyres are up to temperatures, not like Silverstone where we have a cold front. Soft fronts, medium rears. What's he on right now, actually, Pekco? Hard front, medium rear. Could be a hard that's causing it. It's a bit unlikely, isn't it? But still. So just a reminder to you, coverage details this weekend to practice and qualifying live on JBMotorsports 2, as well as warm-up and the Moto2 race, the Moto3 race, MotoGP's Sprint and Grand Prix all live on the main JB Motorsports channel. And then on Monday, we'll have the MotoGP Aragon test live from 9 AM. And this time I won't be doing it on my phone, trying to, on a bus back from Donington Park to the train station, desperately trying to get things sorted. Still milk on my too, actually. Yeah, and we can't wait, by the way, for what is going to be a great test day. Lots to do on that day. Yamaha V4 testing. And again, Mark now coming through the wall section, turn 12. Mark's was a bit unusual as to why the bike stepped out of the rear. So we've got Bagnaia stepping out the front, Mark's stepping out of the rear. Between them, they've got a good motorcycle, but yeah, checker flags out. Mark's topped the session, 146.974. Alex is second, 148.012. Just a strange end to the day for Marc Marquez, for FP1 at least. Practice this afternoon, 1 hour in length. That's going to be the critical hour to TNT.
If he rides like that, he'll end up in hospital. It will not work out at all. And he won his second ever Grand Prix and the World Championship in his first year. So I think Toprak's freaky talented. He's an absolute alien to me. I watch him do things on a motorcycle that I can't believe. And I've been watching bike racing for a long time, so... Like, I'll talk to Cal Crooks on. Cal's going, honestly, Neil, I think he'll really struggle. So that's what... And I'll use Cal as an example of somebody I really respect. But my opinion is that Toprak's going to be outstanding. Not standing there, looks like Mott's going to his tyre. He must have had a strange moment or feeling and was looking back at something.
Just to clarify the scenario there at front at Yamaha, obviously Jack Miller's on a 1-year deal and Miguel Oliveira is on a 2-year deal if you're just coming into this practice session. That's why we're talking about the scenario with contracts, but we've also discussed the fact that contracts can just get ripped up and thrown away depending on how much money's involved and how good your lawyer is.
The fact that there will be a performance clause in Miguel Oliveira's contract. He's been injured, but he won't have met those performances, and his seat could be precarious, as could Alex Rins, although he's jumped up to top 4 now as bsky does best him there on his last fly lap. But good session for Alex Rins. He needs to perform, he needs to show a little bit of that old magic if he wants to keep his place in the factory Yamaha garage.
I think Mark might be disappointed in the end because Alex
less than a second
managed to just get inside a second. It's only 0.9. So
only, yeah. I was just looking at that. Let's just forget the fact that Mark is there and look at everybody else for a moment, because obviously, like you say, he's almost a second faster than everybody else on a different world. Yeah, Alex Marquez leading the best of the rest, with Bez bringing the momentum from Silverstone.
That's really good to see. Really, really good sign. And it didn't show him too much, but he's done a lot of laps, stayed out there, so they've put some mileage on the tyres. We know it's so abrasive round here on the left-hand side of the tyre. That's positive. One thing just quickly, I was thinking then, because people are saying that maybe there's a performance clause in Oliveira's contract. I would be surprised if that's the case. Now, I've looked at a lot of contracts. I manage Alex Law's. I've seen factory Kawasaki, Yamaha, Suzuki, Bramolta now contracts. I've dealt with some of my contracts. I've never to this day. Is that different to you? Is that slightly different?
Yeah, the channel in the back.
Yeah, the channel in the back. I've never seen one performance clause, Susie. So we're hearing people talk about it. This is not common at all. Not common. So people saying, oh, there'll definitely be a performance clause in Miguel Oliveira's contract. I'd be shocked if there was. I've never seen one.
Yeah, I know what you mean. There's never like you have to be inside the top 10 for the contract to continue, but there's always a subject to an agreement. Like both parties have to be happy to continue. Would you not think that they could lean on that? As you haven't performed, so we're not happy to continue.
Not on a 2-year deal.
No, not really. Yeah, it's true.
On a 1+1, there is.
Yeah, that's true.
In the first 12 months.
On a 1+1, then there's always that.
Yeah.
On the 12th of June, we've got to. You've got like a 2-week window normally to go. We're all good to continue here, but on a 2-year deal.
You've got like a sort of breathing space to start with to see if it works out. That's like a gentleman's agreement kind of scenario.
Yeah. And Jorge Martin has a performance. He's had that added into his contract because he held all the cards.
Yeah.
If you hold all the cards, if someone really wants you can go. Oh, also, just in case your bike's no good, I want a get-out clause.
Yeah.
So
fair enough.
And fair enough. And then if you're a Billy, you go, we're confident in our product. We know he's going to gel really good with our bike. Put it in, because I know that's never going to come into play.
It sounds like they put it in to get a 2-year deal over the line, a 1+1, because it sounded like Jorge only wanted to sign for 12 months. But this is all
speculation.
But we did see a quote come up from Bonera during that session saying that they are...
busy talking.
Yeah. Someone's just said it's great listening to you. It's like mates chatting. Let me just pull you up on that.
We don't get on.
We do not get on here. Yeah, but Bonera said, if you did miss it, which I think you did, that they're working on the relationship and it can be fixed, which is, well, you are going to say that.
That's so true. But I still think it can.
There
is an opportunity.
Let's hope it can be, because essentially, the bottom line of this, and I should have said it at the end of the extremely long chat that we had, is this championship is better with Jorge Martin in it.
Yeah, he's one of the superstars. He provides the action that, yeah, we need him back to see what he can do on the Aprilia. And I guess if you're Paulo Dorna, team manager down there, you've got to want to have him in your fold. You've got to want to see that #1 kit out there. You believe that you've developed a package that you can win on. And yeah, it's just a matter of time, get him back, show what he's capable of, and we can repair this relationship. It's not too far gone.
I wonder what the relationship is at the moment in the factory Ducati team, because we do see body language of some slight... It looks a bit disgruntled, Davide Tardozzi, quite often in there now. It's always been a furnace of pressure and anxiety all the way around the relations, and you know, we've talked about it in the past, but it feels bristly, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does feel it. You sense it. What will be going on is they'll be jumping through hoops to try and help Pekco. They really will. They won't be just going, look, Mark's doing this. They will be changing things. They want Pekco to obviously get results. They want Pekco to win races, so they won't just be saying, get on with it.
No, of course not. This is your favourite part of the weekend.
Yeah, I know, I was thinking that.
Right, let's have a look at these race starts then.
Yeah, that looked out. It's a real short drag down to turn 1.
It's going to be spicy into turn 1.
Oh, it's always spicy. It's essentially like a hairpin corner if you look at it from above. It is really, really tricky, really tricky. And we've seen shenanigans over the years. Literally, you let the clutch out the GP by, you hit second and grab the brake. Yeah, literally. You don't even get into third.
They will put it back to first gear as you approach turn 1 on lap 1. You would imagine there's a bunches in there, unless you are the lead rider through.
Well, the only man who can beat this man this weekend is this man, I think.
Oh, that was very good.
Love it. Still spinning.
You know when you're confident, when you let the clutch out, it starts to spin, you take your hand off the handlebar and give it the old victory sign.
Davide's face.
Yeah.
You just remembered your conversation last year, Neil, about the lowered bikes. It doesn't make these bikes spin, remember?
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad you explained that to us. So look, it's still spinning. It's spinning now.
Oh, that's awesome.
So now, right, you can see it smoking. This is where I feel like, this is when Mark, we've seen him make mistakes in the past. This is like it's an Austin weekend where he's got such an advantage.
Exactly. It's the weekend that he's got in his pocket where he's messed up.
Where he messes up. And that's what I'm feeling now. Even doing this is risky. Look, it's still spinning. It's smoking. Like, I wonder if
he's not had a win in 3 events.
Yeah, and I feel like Tardozzi's the strong enough personality to go into his motor, or when they're doing the debrief and go, can I have a quick chat? Whoa, remember Austin? Remember, where was the other one? I remember Jerez.
Yeah.
Like, that's...
Well, you've got it in the can and then you haven't.
Yeah, because it almost allows... Yeah, it almost allows...
Do you know, it's funny in this job. You want to create a bit of jeopardy when things are seemingly running away. But I just can't believe in any jeopardy. Mark, it's got to be not around here.
But we couldn't in Austin.
Yeah, true.
True.
In a 2-second lead after about 4 laps in that, when it obviously the mess of the start, and then he clipped the curb.
There's going to be no rain this weekend. There's no weather scenario.
There's no rain because Sylvan's not here. If Sylvan was here, he'd have his app out. I've got to look at my app. It looks like it's
I think it's going to rain.
I think it's going to rain. So I've got a soccer feeling.
Well, he's got a long stint this weekend.
Yeah, it's only 8 hours, isn't it?
It's Spa.
It's Spa, though.
Yeah, one of the best tracks.
What a track
No.
on a bike. Yeah, if you missed that, by the way, don't forget, we've got all the coverage live. Starts tomorrow, 11 o'clock on TNT Sports 4 and Discovery Plus, so you can multi-screen and watch our Sylv.
Did he
on
ride
track.
there? Did I see that?
He rode there on a GS.
Did he? He's such a corporate man, is Sylvan there. Did you see it? Did you see it on his Instagram?
Yeah.
We're spinning.
Hey, fair play to Jake Dixon.
That's a good point. Let's just, yes, the helmet obviously at Silverstone that was designed by Sylvan's son Luca, who's obviously suffering cancer at the moment, and the two charities that work with him, it was to raise money for those two charities, and he designed the helmet, which is beautiful, and it went in a raffle. Jake Dixon wanted, it was all his idea, he wanted to raffle off the helmet, and it raised over £60,000, so well done everybody if you bought a ticket for that. It's just gorgeous, our sport coming together for good, and it really was wonderful.
I think it happened with the raffle. I think it was...
It's ended, I know that.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if the winner has been selected yet.
We might have just done the deadline, I'm not sure I've seen that, but I think everybody won in that situation.
Absolutely.
And it's always weird when Sylvan's not here, actually. It changes the whole dynamic of the team, doesn't it?
We all end up going to bed nice and early. There's no hangovers. I've got a headache this morning, actually. I can tell Sylvan's not around.
That's his training.
We know.
The best one was in Austin a couple of years ago when he went out and won the Le Mans 24 hours straight afterwards. That was extraordinary. He is a machine, isn't he?
Well, it wasn't just Austin, because
it was back to back with Argentina.
And all I'm going to say is Sylvan trained hard on night stints and then literally absolutely destroyed him.
He's such a one-off. He is inimitable, really.
Yeah, he is.
You know what he brings, and the fact that he's still racing is just fantastic.
It's still fast, really fast.
And he's so chilled about it.
Well, he's 6 children and he's chilled.
Yeah, good point. Let's talk about this man one more time and what he can do. Not Mark, Pekco this weekend.
Well, it's a track he got his first MotoGP victory on in a really good battle with Marc Marquez, if you remember that one. And it was from that moment on, I think Pecco's won about 30 races, MotoGP races. It's a track he goes well on. There's a test here on Monday, so you'd hope that they've got things to think about or try. I mean, he's 1.5 seconds off his teammate. We've mentioned that earlier, so it's not started well.
No, and the worrying thing was in Silverstone, he said he thought the solution was far away, which is intriguing. I don't really know what he meant by that.
Well, I think a lot of it was, you watched Silverstone was... I really felt sorry for him because he clearly didn't have the feeling for the bike. He was riding steady and then crashed. It wasn't like he was not pushing at all, which I felt so sorry for him. Because
That's such a confidence thing,
he was doing what any rider would do. If you don't have the feeling, so you think, well, I'll just pick up some or try and work into a bit of feeling, and then he went down. So,
well, it's Marc Marquez, his fastest from Alex Marquez, Marco Bezzecchi, Alex Rins, Maverick Vinales, Pedro Costa, Juan Mir, Ferdinand Aguirre, Franco Morbidelli, Pecco Bagnaia, your top 10. Then it's Fabio Quartararo, Johan Zarco, Brad Binder, Jet Miller, Augusto Fernandez, Fabio Di Giancarlo, Ralph Fernandez, Enea Bastianini, Miguel Oliveira, Solcat Chancha, and Lorenzo Salvadori. That's it then for the first free practice session. We'll be back later for the practice hour, a very critical hour, when we'll decide the running order for Q1 and Q2. We'll see you then. And about 2 hours' time. Bye-bye.